Hey guys, welcome to the channel. On this episode of Over 9000 Engineering, I'm going to be deep diving into my rat rod. So a lot of you guys have been asking, what is the rat rod? I'm here to tell you kind of what it is. So it started off as a 2000 Silverado, running, driving, no issues. So if I actually zoom in, you can actually see the original Silverado frame. Huge, big, heavy, and actually kind of runs across and even comes down here. And it goes all the way in the back. You can see part of it right there, if I can get it. And it comes into the back and comes right there. So it is a Silverado, which means it's really, really heavy. Hopefully I get to lighten it soon, but right now it's about anywhere from 36 to 3,800 pounds, about. So it's not a light race car. It's not meant to be the fastest thing in the world, but it's meant to be fun. The big thing that I chose and why I chose it was because of the LS. Super easy to work on, makes tons of power on boost, fairly reliable if you tune it correctly. So right now it's actually a 4.8 LS. It is a Gen 3.5, and what I mean by that is it is a Gen 3 motor, but with Gen 4 rods and pistons, and that's what everybody kind of calls a Gen 3.5. It's not a full Gen 4 engine. I gapped the rings, made sure all the bearings were good, and then I put it back together. The only thing I would say aftermarket on the engine it has a stage 2 cam, which everybody calls either a sloppy stage 2, Jag stage 2, Amazon special, eBay special, something like that. They're pretty much all the same, and I can send you the links if you need it. And then it has Pac 1218 springs. And the reason why you need those springs, the heavier springs, is one, the valve is coming up faster, so it's a more of aggressive cam, so you want that spring to push down and follow the cam and not get valve float. And the second thing is when you're running boost, it's actually harder to close the valve, so you need a harder spring to push back on that boost. For me, I'm not running that much, so I'm not too worried, but it's the added, safety. And that's really the only two things you need. Yes, you can do multiple other things, but for this, I'm not running that high of a horsepower. I'm not going crazy, so it's fairly reliable at that setup. Again, if you tune it right. I was tuning it myself, so I've been through a few engines. It happens. It is tuned with HP tuners. I want to switch to the Holley setup. The Holley just seems a little bit easier for me. It seems more plug and play, but right now it's the HP tuner. I did segment swap to run more boost. I did a segment swap for the 4L80E transmission. There's a little bit that I needed help from because I didn't know how to do that kind of things. I had help from friends and things like that. With that being said, the transmission is a 4L80E. It does have an HD2 Transglow kit in it. It does have a 3600 stall converter, and really that's it in terms of, aftermarket. It's fairly stock. It's not that crazy. And then I just added a decent sized turbo with it. It's actually a 78, 76 turbo. I got from VS Racing. I got the wastegate from VS Racing, the blow off valve, and I got all the piping and the big intercooler. I actually went with the thicker intercooler. I think this is the 4-inch width rather than the 3-inch. Just wanted a little bit more cooling. Runs pretty good. It never really has high IATs. So I'm okay. The only thing that I struggle with this right now is that it has a lot of blow by. Because I gapped the rings a little bit more than I should have, they're running about 34, which a lot of people say 28,000 is good. I did a little bit more. I was learning how to do the rings a little bit, and I kind of wanted to make it a little bit wider just because I knew I was going to be risking going higher up on the boost pressure later on. I kind of went a little bit overboard, which means there's a lot of excessive blow by around the rings, and I'll show you that in other videos and kind of how to measure that and all. So I have blow by issues. And what I did is, the biggest thing is you want the engine to breathe. So I put a little breather right here, kind of in the cap, and I have a catch can. And you can actually see the catch can is pretty oily, which means it's not breathing as much as it should. It doesn't fill up all the way. It doesn't fill up. I think after 2 days, it was maybe 2 ounces of oil. So that's not too crazy of running really hard for 2 days. But the problem is it's not breathing fast enough. The oil in the air is not traveling enough inside here. So when it actually gets to the breather, there's still oil in the air, and it's still kind of pressurized, so there's a lot more air going in here. So I got to redesign something and get something that flows a little bit better. More on the engine side, it is stock pretty much everything else. Like I said, it is a stock pump, it's a stock timing chain, it's a stock alternator. There's nothing special about this. I even have power steering, as you can see right here. I didn't delete it, so it drives pretty nicely. I can actually drive this at the drag strip with 2 fingers. On the highway, I drive with my knee. It's really not that bad. It's pretty good. Doesn't overheat, can sit all day in traffic. I get a little hot. The engine, it doesn't. Speaking of getting hot with the engine, if you noticed, there's no radiator up front. I wanted to do something, again, a little different. I knew there was gonna be a lot of weight up front, so I wanted to put a little bit of weight in the back and just to be different. So if you see, I got these two pipes right here. They're kind of makeshift. They're rat rod. I have a breather right here, but I'll show you that a little later. So all of these two pipes right here and right here, they actually come down, and if you see, they actually sneak down. He actually sneaks underneath the cab and actually runs all the way to the back, comes over, comes up, and boom, there actually is my radiator. And I got basically pull fans, I guess. Basically, they suck air in and push air out this way. Later on, I might make like some form of a scoop that kind of cups the air a little bit better, or like a box around here, but overall it's really not that bad. Again, I don't have much overheating issues. I have a lot more water than normal because of these lines that run here. And everybody says, well, how's your flow? How does the stock pump work? How is it pushing that much water? It's really not an issue. I've never had an issue with the pump. I've gone, you know, a couple different pumps because I've gone through a couple different engines. Not one of them has had a flow issue or a belt slip or overheating issue. The biggest thing I will say is getting all the air out of the system. It's really, really hard when you have a radiator in the back. So first things first, my radiator is the highest point in the whole system, but there's a dip, which means their bubbles can sit here, their air can sit here and actually not travel all the way there. So this was the best thing I ever did. And this is a little breather. So I actually turn this knob and then so you can see water coming out. But when the air is in the system and in the engine, this breather allows all that air to get kind of trapped right here. And this, you see this little U, it's just like a second high point, and all the air comes out here. And then what I do is I check this. This is actually either a flow meter or a level meter, whichever you want to call it. And I can actually check to see, make sure this is full of air. A lot of times I'll see bubbles in here when I fill it up. Turn this, I wait till all the bubbles come out of here, and I lock it down. As you can see, water came straight out. This means there's no air in the system. That's crucial for temperature. Once all the air is out of the system, easy. Just like any other car, runs perfect, no issues. Again, a lot of rock crawlers do this. The biggest thing they have is overheating issues because they don't have one of these up front. I did it. Once I did it, everything just worked perfect. And it's super easy to bleed the system. Maybe I cracked this 1 or 2 times in the beginning. I go for a drive. When I land, I crack it again till some more bubbles out, and probably by the 3rd or 4th time, it's full of water and there's no issues. With that being said, right now, I just run straight water. And then you're thinking, okay, these pipes are not aluminum. The pipes underneath are not aluminum. Aren't you gonna get rust in the system? Eventually, they're galvanized, so it's not too bad of an issue, but I have an iron block, so I'm gonna get rust in the system anyways. It's gonna be not that big of a deal. As long as it's full of water, I'm not really too concerned. I'm gonna be taking apart more times, and I really think that the rust isn't really gonna be an issue. Hasn't been an issue before. As you can see, there was some discoloration in the water, but it's not a big deal. It hasn't shown to be a problem yet. So coming on this side, I do have eBay special Flowmaster or Flowtech, whatever you want to call them, headers. I wanted to go low. I wanted to, instead of coming up and forward, I wanted to come low and forward, but I can't because, you know, I got my steering rack and I got a whole bunch of other stuff over here. It kind of hits the power steering. I didn't want to get rid of that. So I have them come up. It's a little close, but I wrapped them, made them look cool. These actually glow at night. When I'm on full boost. And I actually got some, you know, heater wrap or header wrap, whatever you want to call them, for the spark plug. So don't have any issues with burning up spark plugs. The boost piping, after it comes from the intercooler, comes up and around and actually goes into the intake. Although this does go in between 2 headers, they are both wrapped, or 2 exhaust pipes, they are both wrapped, and this doesn't get, it gets warm but it doesn't get too hot. IATs have always been like under 120, so I'm not really too worried about that. Even on hot days like this, that's 95 and up. So, and the other thing, again, I didn't want, if you look kind of right at an angle, I didn't want this big tube coming out. I wanted to be all hidden. And actually, when I first made it, I kind of wanted this one right here to kind of swoop back and come up, but it was just a little too close and I kind of didn't really work out. The other thing, if you noticed, is I actually have my wastegate welded right to my turbo housing. It's a sloppy type thing. There's a few guys that have done it. You know, Sloppy Mechanics, if you know anything about Matt Happel, he's kind of a lot of inspiration of these kind of junkyard builds or, you know, fun type builds. That's where I saw it. I don't think he's the first one. I think he said somebody else's, but that's where I first saw it. I tried it once. If you can see, kind of, I had it at a more 90 degree or 45, and now it's like straight up and zero issues when it comes to boost creep as of right now. So far, so good. I had it on an 8-pound spring. I don't know if you can see that 8 right now. I've now put all 3 springs in there, and from what Varen said, or Vareen, I always pronounce his name wrong, I'm sorry. He said it's about 18 pounds. So we should be about 18 pounds. When it comes to fuel, so now I have the exhaust. I have the air, I should say, to make this thing run. Do I have the fuel? And the short answer is yes. I have decapped truck injectors. I got them flowed by Eric Durr. I got a shout out to him. He's been awesome. He's flowed a ton of my decaps. These actually flow 82. I asked him to find the highest combo that he can get. I had some that are 76, some sets, full sets that are 76, some that are around 80. The average is about 78 to 80. These actually are 82. A couple pounds, not a big difference, but for me, I wanted everything. I wanted the most amount I could. He flows them within, I think, 1 or 2%, both static and dynamic, which is great. That's basically like an aftermarket set. Haven't had any issues. I know a ton of people say they're not good, they're not the best. Idle is perfect, spray pattern is perfect. I actually even have my own little mini tester. All the sprays look great. Can't ask for something better. It's a little crazy up here. I know there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of connections and things like that. But if you look at it, it's really not that bad. I mean, obviously my coils are set up a little higher, so it kind of hides everything. But you can see my fuel rail down here. You can see my injectors. It looks basically stock. Here is my map sensor. It's a 3-bar map sensor. I actually built this little tab to keep it down because the fitting wasn't perfect. I have one line coming in. This is the fuel line coming in. It comes up, it goes around, and then I have them back fed. And so basically it feeds from the back and it goes forward and then comes back up, goes to this guy, which is my Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. I got my nice gauge that I can actually see from the driver's seat. It goes in after, so this is the return now. It's a return -8 into my flex fuel sensor and then goes back into the pump and basically comes up around, or sorry, into the tank. And I'll show you the tank. So everything is underneath, so it comes up, comes around, and you see right here my filter. This is super easy to get to. Grab it. You can either get it from underneath, you can get it from right here in between. Actually, the filter is on the feed. Duh, makes sense, because you don't want to feed in crap fuel. And then it comes back through here, dumps in here. I actually have 2 Walbro 450s. You could see the lines. Again, I could have made them nicer. The connections are perfect. The connections are good. I made sure they're good. You know, they're good. It's really the look. This is the stock Silverado tank. As you could see, it is huge. I didn't want to put it all the way in the back because although, yes, that would transfer more weight to the back, it's weight way in the rear, which means if the rear gets loose or starts to go sideways, I have 22 gallons or 24 gallons, whatever it is, way in the back that is causing to slosh. So yes, this is a lot of weight. Yes, I could have put it in the back for better weight balance distribution, but if it ever got sideways, this could be my downfall. When this gets sideways, it's small, it's minute, and when I let go of the gas, this thing wants to go straight. I know a lot of people put the 15 gallons in the back. That's fine. I'm running a lot bigger tank, so it's a little bit worried for me. Again, this was a trial for me. I did a lot of this stuff on my own. Yes, an engineer by trade, but race car, not by trade. I haven't had tons of years experience. I'm basically maybe 5 to 10 years experience in it. And this is the first true custom crazy build that I have built basically from the ground up. I'm not just bolting on parts or doing some custom fab. Let me open this up. So this kind of opens up, and here's one of my fuel relays. I made a little Milwaukee one, super simple. That's something to get to. It's a simple check to make sure that at least one of my pumps are working. This is actually my second pump. My other pump is a primary pump, and I just want to make sure that this one's working. At least one can get me home. Super simple, you know, no big deal. Now let's talk about the suspension of it all. I'll start with the back because that's kind of the most fun. It is a Ford 8.8 rear end. I have welded it, if you can see, maybe. I welded the tubes. I also have this huge brace that I put on. I don't know if you can see that. It's a monster brace. welded it up. You can see those nice little welds. See, I'm not too bad at welding. And then this actually is a triangulated 4-link with coilovers. These are actually Megan Racing coilovers. These are actually for a 240SX. So I didn't want to spend QA1s. Yes, I could have bought $1,000 suspension. It's a rat rod. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it smarter in terms of cost, yet still get a really good effect. I looked at QA1s, I studied what they have, and I actually found that 240SX coilovers aren't that bad. They're pretty close. So that's what these are. A 240SX is very light in the back. So these don't have a super tough spring. When it comes to the weight, it looked almost like a Fox body in terms of rear weight, rear bias, things like that. So these actually worked really well, and they were cheap, they were used. QA1s I couldn't find for really cheap. I also welded up those adjustables. There's actually 3 points of height adjustment. There's also the height adjustment there. I'm not gonna lie, it's not too bad. I kept spinning and doing one wheel wonders. So I replaced the rear end on this. I should say I just replaced the clutches. Once I replaced the clutches, I was hooking pretty well. And then I broke the gears. They were 373s. I had a friend with 410s. So I swapped in the 410s with the brand new clutches, or brand new clutch pack, or the Ford Performance Pack. So now I don't have one wheel wonders. I don't spin at all, and I got 410s to help a little bit versus the 373s. I haven't seen the good of the 373. I am automatic, so maybe that might be a difference, but so far so good. And then of course, when you have a job, when you have a toy, you always have to have a toolbox. So I got this toolbox, kind of mounted it up nice and fun. The hook is actually an old wrench. I don't know if you can see that, just welded it. I wanted it to rust, so I didn't cover it. This just pads so it doesn't hit. And then I got tools in there. And then this is a really easy way to get to my battery. So later videos, I'm gonna add weight to this. So look at all this area right here and right here. It's low, it's behind the axle. I can even bolt some weight to the axle if I wanted, I guess for unsprung weight, things like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some weights, like normal lifting weights. I'm gonna weld some bars or something and actually put some weights here. It's gonna be nice low in the back. I actually might even put a bar back here and put it there, maybe put 5-10 pounds just on the axle. I don't know, but I think I'm gonna start adding a little bit amount of weight on the rear end and go slow rather than putting the whole tank up there. Because if it's bad, I can't take it off. So, and that's kind of it. I mean, I got, you know, just made it a little bit nice, kind of wanted added some little texture to it. So I talked about so much of the outside, I totally forgot to talk about the inside. I don't know what I was thinking. So it's kind of hard to see, it is small. It is a full custom interior. Actually, it's got full interior. It's got AC, you know, it comes in through here and air blows and you get AC. It's got heat. You basically lean your leg against the transmission tunnel and it will slowly warm up and hopefully the rest of your body. You're safe. One of my friends gave me this to keep me safe, so that's awesome. It's actually, like I said a little while back in the video, it's got full interior lights, so you basically flick the switch and you have, you know, passenger interior, and then you have driver interior over there in that switch. You have an RPM gauge, you have my boost gauge, you have oil pressure, and you have a air fuel gauge. It's really all I need. I don't have a speedo. I kind of go by the RPM, kind of go with the flow of traffic. This is the stock Silverado steering wheel. It's actually a pretty good size. It's a little big, but not bad. This is a fairly nice race car seat. It's like a Jag special with, you know, I wanted to make it nice and comfy. I would say that it's a quick disconnect steering wheel, as like, you know, if you can see, if I can unscrew this and take it off, and then I actually put the steering wheel, if I can see up there, a lot. So look at that. Wow, that's a quick disconnect, kinda. You know, it's like race car, man. I got my little sticky for my phone, my rearview mirror that I can't see anything in. This little mount was actually for a huge iPad or like a Droid tablet. Basically, it had all the gauges on it. I don't use it anymore, just kind of got in the way. These are kind of the amenities. I have voltage, charge my iPhone, cigarette lighter. The first one is fans, second one is lights, and then I have like 4 extra if somebody else wants to put in anything. I do have something nice in here. This is a B&M ratchet shifter, pro ratchet shifter for the 80E, and if you can see, obviously I bought it used. It didn't have the little special brake button, so I made my own. These wires are kind of coming out. Basically, this is a third brake, or third gear spool mod. I don't know if you don't know about it, but when you're in drive on an 80E, you can actually press this button. It puts it in third gear off the line. That just allows you to hit the brake pedal and the gas in third gear, and allows you to build some boost. A lot easier than being in first gear, because if you hold the brake, you start building boost in first gear, what happens is you tend to actually spin. So this allows you to go in third, bring your boost up maybe to like a couple pounds. Actually, you can do a lot more, but I only need a couple pounds. And I let go of that, let go of the brake, and hit the full throttle. And at the same time, it lets go of the brake. It has boost. It jumps back in first gear and takes off. And there's a little relay and things that I kind of looked online to kind of find. I got AC, kinda. I got heat, kinda. I got interior lights, kinda. I got gauges, kinda. I have a quick disconnect, kinda. I got some pro ratchet shifter stuff, kinda. I got some cargo space, kinda. I got some amenities like cup holders, kinda. So it's pretty much a daily. That's kind of what I call it. All joking aside, I actually do drive it to work maybe 2 or 3 times a day for fun. I like getting a lot of looks. I like getting the thumbs up. I want to kind of prove to everybody that it's not just, you know, trailer to the track and drive it, or, you know, trailer to the track and then trailer at home. I do drive it. It is a daily, kinda. So yeah, this is the rat rod. This is my beautiful, ugly but beautiful work of art. Thanks guys, I appreciate it. This means a lot to me. Please like, please share. I got way more videos of the rat rod coming up. I'm doing, you know, lightweight. I'm doing a transmission rebuild. I got 2 other projects that I want to show you guys and be a part of. Maybe even a 3rd project if I convince a friend to help out. I really need you guys to like, share this. It means a lot to me. It allows me to do the things that I love. It proves to myself that I can do it, and I'm going to be helping other people just as much as people helped me. So thanks guys. Stay tuned.